It's an honor to be here with all of you. We're at a time that so many of us are feeling the anxieties, the stress, the depression, the sadness, the anger. And it's important for us to gather together as a community, to gather together with those of us who are activists, because it's in those moments, it's within this community that we can be empowered, that we can lean on each other. I've been active with the Jewish National Fund for a very long time. I think probably as almost any American Jew has been, beyond the blue box, which is on the shelf, right? That we were raised with, but really understanding throughout my experiences with JNF was understanding that JNF provided me a way to be an activist, provided me in my early years as an activist with opportunities to help people. And for me to give back to JNF is beyond an honor, because it's the same thing for me to give back to the Jewish community is beyond an honor. I was raised to understand what it means to be a proud Jew, to understand what it means to have a small family, to be a grandchild of Holocaust survivors, to be a child of Israelis who fought in wars to make sure that our country, that Israel and that our people remain, and that I have a responsibility to be a warrior for our people, utilizing whatever talents and skills that I can apply to it. So now, as I travel across the United States, Canada, and Israel, and speak out on news programs, I'm a keynote speaker and workshop leader at events, my goal is to empower all Jews and our allies and our future friends, our potential allies, to be activists, to stand up for what is right. And when we feel that depression, that anxiety, the sadness, the anger, those are feelings that we feel because we are aware of what is happening in the world around us. That awareness kind of sucks. It's hard. It's not easy. These are not easy things that we're dealing with. But we need to wake up. We need to be as active as possible. And that's why we need each other. So for me to be here with all of you is simply amazing for me. I've been an LGBTQ activist for a long time. I'm a proud member of the LGBTQ community, yet I'm also very much challenged by what I'm seeing. I've been raising the red flag about anti-Semitism within my own liberal, progressive, left-leaning, and LGBTQ communities, including within the Hollywood communities, with my work as an actor, as a filmmaker, as a news commentator, and as an activist in all of these different places. I've been seeing the anti-Semitism rising, the hatred of Jewish people rising. And now I feel like we're trudging in a swamp of sewage of hatred that is rising so rapidly that it's frightening us and intimidating us. So what do? We connect. We have this community. We focus on the values that we believe in. Because to be a proud Jew and to be a Jew isn't only about our belief in Hashem and the books that we read with the words of our rabbis, the matriarchs and the patriarchs of our Jewish people. But it's to focus on the values of Judaism. At every bar and bat mitzvah, we hear, as you'll hear from Masha soon, who deals with teenagers, they'll talk about tikkun olam, tikkun olam, tikkun olam. Yes, we're raised to understand that it is our responsibility to focus on tikkun olam, repairing of the world. But we also have to focus on tikkun hanefesh, repairing of the soul. And then as Jews in these books, we say, well, what is the soul? What is the nefesh? Is it my own soul? Or is it the spirit of our people? Yes, and yes, we are at a time that we must repair the spirit of our people. And when I feel downtrodden, and when I look at the messages that I get on social media, thousands of hateful messages saying today, they're saying, even LGBTQ activists wrote to me today, wishing that the man with the little mustache would come back. How lovely is that? But you know what? I know that I can call Jody Bodner if I'm feeling really stressful, because not only is she with JNF, but she's a friend. And she's somebody who's doing a lot of work. So if I feel weak, I can lean on other people who are doing something as well. So that is the tikkun hanefesh, repairing the world. Well, we're all doing it. We all have to do it. Is it my world? Is it all of our worlds? Is it even the worlds of the people who hate us? What do we do about them? And then there's tikkun haguf, repairing of the body. Is it my body? Is it my physical body? Making sure that I rest enough, that I can battle on, that I can travel across the US speaking and activating Jews and our allies, but making sure that I also take a moment to relax, to understand what the concept of Shabbat really is, to have that rest so I can be the valiant Zionist, to be the lion that's fighting for our people. But is Tikkun Haguf also the body politic? Our body politic needs to be repaired. That's why we're talking about Jewish unity. That's why organizations like JNF and hundreds of other Jewish organizations exist, because we need to repair ourselves. And this aha moment that so many of us are experiencing, especially Jews in the Gola outside of Israel, and those of us in North America, in the US and Canada, we're now realizing why the Jews of previous generations were very insular and focused on helping the Jewish community and helping each other and supporting each other. And then there were Jews of my generation and younger than me who were saying, yes, but we need to focus on all these other communities and help the other communities. And we started helping other communities more than we helped ourselves. Now is a time that we, as one people, and that includes the Jewish people and our allies, must support each other. What businesses do you support? How about support a Jewish business or a business of allies? What doctors do you go to? What lawyers do you hire? What gyms do you go to? And who are your friends? Because probably like so many of you, not only did I lose friends who were murdered on October 7th, but I lost friends here in the United States, former friends who revealed what their real thoughts are, what their real beliefs are, who showed their true colors as not being supportive of the Jewish people of Israel and proliferating the propaganda and the false narratives about what Zionism is. Well, you know what? Those people are no longer my friends. Even if they came for Shabbat dinners, even if they came as plus ones to my film screenings or to fabulous events where we had gift bags because everybody loves a gift bag. So I learned who my real friends are. And it caused this deep loneliness where I thought, wow, I don't really have that many friends. But what I realized is the friends that I do have, like many of you on this call, are my true friends, are the people who I identify with. And those people who are against us, especially the challenges that I'm seeing, like I said, within the liberal, progressive, and LGBTQ movements of people who are speaking out against who I am as a person, actually saying Yuval David is an embarrassment to the queer community because he is a racist Zionist. Whoa, public statements from the heads of LGBTQ organizations that I've been involved with for 20 years. It's pretty shocking. But I don't back down. I was taught not to back down. And I was taught to understand that those people who are so dug in ideologically that it would twist their minds to understand actual facts that should shape their opinions, as opposed to forcing opinions to fit or forcing facts to fit their opinions. And then there's this reliance that we're seeing amongst my own progressive liberal communities, where they're relying on some sort of self-centered narcissism that reveals a bigotry which is built upon a misdirected discomfort or a low self-esteem. We've seen that throughout the course of Jewish history and anti-Semitism. When you feel bad about yourself, well, you know what? Knock somebody else down. Instead of building yourself up, bring other people down so you can feel better about yourself. And I find that so embarrassing. So I continue to fight not just within our Jewish community and our allies, but I continue to fight within the communities that are supposed to be about the values that must include Jewish people. We cannot back down. So while we're having these challenging feelings, it's the challenging feelings of awareness. I think a lot about the concept of Etz HaChaim, the tree of life, right? It means so much. We see the symbol in synagogues and in so many Jewish businesses, and I think it's even on the back of my necklace. So Etz HaChaim also reveals who we are and who our community is. Many of us, we have leaf people in our lives. The leaf people, when you look at a tree, you really look at a tree and you see its leaves. But you know what? Those leaves, when the winds are too harsh, those leaves will blow away. And those leaves don't last throughout every season. They will fall. So we have leaf people. We need to understand that some people are not meant to be with us all the time. But we also have branch people, limb people, the ones who will bring all these leaf people into our lives, the ones who allow us to climb up and reach higher, the ones who let us hang off of and do all kinds of stuff with. But you know what? If you go too far with those branch people, they will break. And then we have the trunk people, right? The thickest, the strongest part of the tree, the one you can lean on, the one you can do the most with, the one that grows, the one that reaches up for the skies, the ones that will reach and grow out limbs and branches and bring in the leaves. That is who we are for each other. But we also must remember the root people, the ones who don't need to be in the light of day, the ones who reach down into the earth to create a firm base. So how can we be the root people for each other? Well, we were born as the root people for each other. How can we be the trunk people for each other? Well, we were born to be that. And now we're embracing our strength and understanding that Etz HaChaim isn't just an object that we look at. We are the Etz HaChaim. And I think of these things, especially as I face those challenges, those hardships, to try to give myself those same uplifting mantras, because I need it as much as you. And for those of you who are on social media, wonderful. You need to be. It's a losing battle. I believe that we're going to win this war because that's what the Jewish people are all about. Things have happened to us before. The older people who are on this call, who've had more rotations around the sun, have seen more things than those of us who haven't traveled around the sun as many times. And our previous generations have seen it. We've allowed ourselves to become kind of weak and complacent. And I speak for myself, even as a lifelong activist. I've had a pretty easy life as a Jew. But you know what? We come from strong people. We come from survivors. We don't come from people who are weak. We come from people who fought for their own lives, which allowed us to be alive, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. We carry the epigenetics of traumas and hardships, but also of survival and of resilience. That is what Zionism is about. That is what the Jewish people are about. That is what we must continue to define and explain to people. Zionism is about the self-actualization of the Jewish people with a connection to our ancestral homeland. We want social and political representation because we deserve it just like anybody else does. And that's why we focus on helping our neighbors at the same time, because those are the values of Judaism. It's in the third paragraph of the Declaration of Independence of Israel. It's not to say to be against our neighbors, it's to work with our neighbors. That is what we do. But I'll tell you what, I've been pretty challenged because I mentioned those former friends, and I think, well, do I have to help them? Do I have to reach out to the people who did horrible or said horrible things against my people? I struggle with that. And, maybe that does deserve a call to Jody to give me that advice, or to Masha, who deals with this stuff every single day. So, long story short, I'm honored to be here. It's amazing to be with all of you. Definitely connect on social media. Those of you who hate social media, at least go on and click like and follow for every Jewish activist, whether they're influencers or politicians or actors or filmmakers or heads of organizations, and just click like, click follow, click share. We're a small people, but we're a mighty people.